Ashley was reporting this earlier, and she said that Modelo is just creeping up there. It's on pace to take over.
For Bud Light, I think this is an unmitigated disaster, and it is completely and totally self-inflicted, and I don't really know how they are going to climb out of this mess, because people are now ridiculing others when they see them drinking Bud Light. Like, if you're a guy and you're out at a bar, for a long time, people would just sort of order Bud Light because it was a generic name brand that everybody knew. Now, many people, when they walk up to the bar or they go out to the grocery and they're buying beer, they're thinking to themselves, I'll buy anything other than Bud Light. Who was Bud Light going to add by advertising in this manner versus the people that they alienated? Ainsley, they used to make everybody laugh. They used to sell football. They used to sell, partying. They used to sell, let's be honest, humor and also pretty women, right? That was the way you got men to buy beer. And that's none of these things. So I think it's just struck a discordant tone.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's official. Bud Light are no longer America's #1 beer. They're no longer America's most popular brand. And I've said from the beginning that if that happens, they will never regain that #1 spot. For the first time in 41 years, Modelo Especial have now taken over as America's #1 beer. And yes, they are originally owned by Anheuser Busch, but in the US, they are actually owned by Constellation Brands. So either way, this doesn't help Anheuser Busch. Their stock continues on a downward trend. And for Bud Light to lose its #1 spot and for them to lose $29 billion in market value, it's huge. So it's not good. Let's take a look. Bud Light has been dethroned as America's most popular beer, according to consumer data obtained by CBS News. The title was won in May by Modelo Especial, which has increased sales by $333 million since 2022. According to behavior analytics firm Circana, in data cited by CBS, Bud Light in comparison sold $297 million worth of Bud Light for the 4 weeks ending May 28. According to the same report, Modelo is a Pilsner-style lager that was first produced in Mexico in 1925, according to its website. Some business experts are reportedly warning Bud Light that it will have to make major changes if it wants to regain the trust of consumers. So what do they have to do to regain the trust of consumers? I've said from the beginning that only an apology will do. All of these camo cans, Harley Davidson, patriotic style commercials, going back to their roots, unfortunately, none of that has worked. At this point, they need to pick a side. But I'm beginning to wonder if that would even be enough now, because it's gone on for so long. Will an apology even seem genuine? But here's what the experts say. Unless Bud Light starts to experience a serious course correction in terms of performance, which can only come from consumers finding their way back into the brand family, then that firm grip on the #1 rank by year end loosens a bit more every week. Dave Williams, Vice President of Analytics and Insights at Bump Williams Consulting, reportedly told CBS Money Watch. And one person to weigh in on this recently is Joe Rogan. Apparently on his podcast recently, he basically went in on Dylan Mulvaney. Comedian Joe Rogan called transgender TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney a confused person and bashed Bud Light for its disastrous partnership with the influencer in a recent episode of his hit podcast. Now, when the boycott first started, he kind of seemed neutral to the whole thing. He was just like, yeah, they wanted to have somebody who was very influential. They wanted to have somebody with a big following. But now he seems to be completely against it. Rogan also slammed companies like Target for shoving its LGBTQ Pride Month merchandise down everyone's throats and accused them of proselytizing. Can you imagine if a company that had Christian values was doing this? There'd be a lot more outrage from the left. Can you imagine you're just going to send an effing can to some confused person? You send that person an effing can with their face on, and your company loses $20 billion. That is wild-ish, man. The former Fear Factor host has taken shots at Mulvaney Bud Light partnership before. In April, he bashed the influencer as an attention whore, while talking about the company's failed attempt to move away from its bread and butter frat culture.
Like interviews with the lady who was the head of Bud Light, talking about why they did it and about the old sort of frat culture attached to Bud Light, dismissing the people and like the humor of the people that like Bud Light. And so they're going to change that with this crazy attention on day 365 of being a woman. I mean, we are in a Coen Brothers movie. This is a Mike Judge movie.
Clearly it wasn't a good move. And even if they did want to move away from that, was Dylan Mulvaney the answer? No. Maybe they could have appealed more to women and hired an actual woman, but instead they chose to throw themselves into a very heated debate. In the latest episode, the comic also blasted companies like Target, which lost a whopping $13.8 billion over the last 2 weeks of May, after consumers rallied against its LGBTQ-friendly kids clothing. Yeah, so the boycott of Target has been going on for 14 days since they released their tuck-friendly swimwear and various LGBT and trans clothing targeted towards children. So that's good to hear that that's still going on. When I go to Target, I don't want to see like effing kin tuck pants, where they're designed to help you tuck your penis. That's not normal. And I don't want that right in front of everybody. It's weird. Thank you. That's a lot of just effing real weirdness with this group of people that is trying to like change the way people view sexuality and gender and all these different things, he continued. It's like they're proselytizing. And that's the thing. It's not like they're trying to change the minds of adults. They're targeting the children. It's as simple as that. Adults have made up their minds. But when it comes to children, they want to get them while they're young. And they are evangelizing, I can't say that word, to children when it comes to this thing. And children shouldn't even be in the equation when we're talking about sexuality and things of that nature. Children should not be in the equation, but they're dragging them into it. And people have had enough. Now, Ted Cruz, he started that whole investigation into Bud Light, claiming that by them using Dylan Mulvaney, to partner with, that they were targeting children because Dylan has a lot of young followers. Now, I kind of feel that's a little bit of a way of just getting him, in the news, getting people talking about what he's doing. I don't know how far I would go with that, the whole investigation, but I haven't heard any updates about that, so we shall see. But Target, absolutely, they're targeting children. No pun intended. And Target and Bud Light, I believe, are the main ones to continue boycotting right now. And North Face, but anyway. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.